Not all sacred places are meant to welcome. Some were built with another purpose, to contain. In the depths of a building the whole world knows, but no one truly understands. There is a place where time hesitates, the air grows heavy, and the echoes carry whispers never spoken by human voices. There faith is silent and fear constant. Few dare to descend beyond the official corridors. Fewer still have returned, and those who did returned mute. The church denies its existence. The map never shows it. But beneath the centuries-old foundations of a temple of marble and gold, there lies a prison that holds not criminals, but that which cannot be named. Objects, entities, fragments of realities that refuse to disappear. Today, we will descend through this forgotten hallway. But be warned, what is locked down there does not want to be remembered, and even less visited. Welcome to another night, where mysteries never sleep. I'm Midnight, and this is 7 Nights. Before we begin, I'd like to ask for your help. Like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's just one click, but it makes a huge difference in helping YouTube show the videos to more people and allows me to keep bringing this content to you. I'm counting on you. Let's go to the video. If you go deep enough down the corridors no one else uses, you'll find a door without windows, marked only with a Roman numeral corroded by time. Behind it, there is a cell, and inside that cell, a bell. It's not large, not golden, and doesn't look important, but it rings. Always. Without wind, without a rope, with no one nearby. And that is exactly what makes it impossible to forget. The sound is not loud, but it is precise. A single, muffled note, as if it strikes directly inside your skull. Those who've passed by the cell say the sound doesn't seem to come from the bell, but from inside their own heads. Some call it suggestion. Those who work down there know it's not. Because even on the surveillance monitors, where the sound should be silent, the recordings show interference, always in the same rhythm. The bell was brought from an abandoned chapel in the Alps, but no one talks about what was found there. It's only known that since the object arrived, nothing in the underground wing has been the same. 2 priests involved in the transport requested leave. One of them disappeared 3 days after leaving Rome. There are no official records of the case. Just a comment from an archivist, he was called. The cell was reinforced with stones taken from a demolished monastery. Each block was blessed by a rite the church no longer even acknowledges. All to try to contain whatever is connected to the bell. And still it continues to ring. There are no pauses, no variations, only the sound and the nervous silence that spreads through the corridor when it begins. One former guard wrote a letter before leaving his post. He said the bell changes depending on who listens. For some, it sounds like a lament. For others, a command. He believed the bell isn't there to alert or to summon. It's there to remind. To remind that somewhere outside reality, something is listening back. The most frightening thing is that no one has ever tried to destroy it, not even touch it. It's as if everyone already knows, without needing to say it aloud, that this is not an ordinary object. It is a barrier, a seal, and for some reason, touching it may be the equivalent of turning a key no one should ever possess. In 1972, a new technician tried to enter the cell out of curiosity. He stayed inside for only 7 minutes. He came out silent, never spoke again. Doctors found no neurological damage, no brain injuries, but he never uttered another word for the rest of his life. The only thing he scribbled weeks later on a psychiatric hospital wall was, "He doesn't want to be forgotten." Since then, access to the cell is remote. No one enters. No one gets close. But the bell keeps ringing, hour after hour, as if marking time for something that has not yet come. Those who watch over the place know that if the sound ever stops for any reason, something worse will begin. You might think this is all an exaggeration, a story told to scare the initiated. But then I ask you, why, in a place where everything is silence and discipline, is a bell left free to ring forever? Perhaps because, deep down, even the Vatican fears what might happen if it is silenced. Most cells in this prison have numbers, locks, and reinforced walls. But there is one cell that no one built. It simply appeared. In a forgotten corner of the foundation, between walls that previously did not exist, a loose door emerged, leaning against nothing. No worker remembers installing it. No architectural plan includes it. And yet, it is there, as if it had always been part of the place. There's no wall around it. No from. The door stands alone, slightly ajar, resting on a floor that also changed. The stones in that section are older, more worn, as if they belong to another era. Anyone who approaches immediately feels the air grow heavier, as if the environment does not welcome human presence. And most unsettling of all, no one can see what lies on the other side. Light does not enter. Sound does not escape. They've tried throwing objects through the gap. None were ever retrieved. Some report seeing distorted shapes moving beyond the darkness, like shadows trying to escape. One visitor described seeing a dead forest, with twisted trees and a sky that spun in silence. Another, after looking for only a few seconds, collapsed into convulsions. The first documented contact occurred in 1944. A monk heard knocks. 3. And then silence. From that day on, the nearby corridors were sealed off. Not officially, of course, none of this appears in public records. But the staff know that this is a place you enter with fear, and leave with less than you came in with. Only once did the door open more than it should. It was during a blackout in 1985. When the lights returned, a guard had disappeared. His name was erased from the records, and to this day, no one dares mention what happened that night. Only one phrase remained, scrawled in chalk on the wall beside the cell. He accepted the invitation. Those who guard the place never look directly at the gap. They've been trained not to. It said the door seems to react to certain types of thought, as if it knows what you fear, as if it is listening all the time, waiting for the right opportunity to open again, just a little more. The floor in front of the door is covered with footprints that appear and disappear randomly. There are never signs of entry, always of exit. Thin, barefoot prints that vanish after a few steps. No camera has ever captured the moment they appear. All that is known is that they do, and that alone is enough to keep everyone away. The air around it smells of wet earth and iron, like an old cemetery. But there is no moisture, no physical reason for it. Some say the odor is the way the other side reveals itself. A warning that it is still active, still pulsing, still waiting. The clergy who work in the underground don't call it a cell. They call it the threshold, a boundary that should never have been left open. And every time the door creaks, even just a little, it's as if something moved on the other side. A reminder that, even locked, not everything can be contained. No sound draws more attention than absolute silence. And it was because of that silence that they found the room. One of the guards noticed that, in that wing of the underground prison, the temperature felt different. The sound of his own footsteps seemed to vanish, as if the place swallowed every noise before it could even form. At the end of the corridor, there was an ordinary wooden door. No sign, no lock, just a warning hanging by a copper wire. Do not wake him. Inside, the room seemed frozen in time. Bed, toys, a shelf with children's books. Everything clean, everything intact, as if it had been used the day before. But what truly caught their attention was the presence of a child. A boy apparently 8 years old, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. Pale skin, eyes too wide open. And the most disturbing thing, he didn't blink. There was no response when they called him. No reaction when they tried to approach. The boy simply existed. Still motionless, like a memory refusing to fade. When one of the guards touched the child's shoulder, he collapsed immediately. The medical team found nothing abnormal. But he only woke up days later, murmuring a lullaby in a language no one recognized. Since then, no one has entered again. Cameras, sensors, and barriers were installed. The boy never moved, never slept, but he didn't disappear. And as time went on, the objects in the room began to change position on their own. Toys appeared in different spots. The pages of books turned by themselves, as if time inside that room had begun disobeying everything reality demands. The prison records classify the appearance of this room as a spontaneous event. No hallway led to it before. No renovation was planned in that wing. One day it simply appeared, as if it had materialized out of nowhere. And with it, the boy. No name, no origin, no apparent age, because since the first time they saw him, he has never aged. The containment teams noticed something even stranger. Anyone who watches the child through the cameras for more than 5 minutes begins to hear voices. First as whispers, then as distorted songs. One sound technician reported hearing his deceased mother calling for him. He was immediately removed. Days later, he vanished without a trace. The cell was sealed off by direct order from Rome. But the boy remains there, always in the same position, eyes fixed on a point no one else can see. Some believe he is an echo of something that happened, or is yet to happen. Others say he is not looking outward. He's looking inward, as if watching something trapped between worlds, and he is the only bridge. In 2009, a priest attempted a purification ritual from a distance. He read prayers from outside the room, using a microphone. The exact moment he said, "Amen," the door shut on its own and locked from the inside. For 3 days, no one could open it. And when it finally did, the boy was in the same spot, but the crucifix on the wall had turned upside down. All guards working in that wing have strict orders. Do not interact, do not respond, do not touch. Just pass and ignore. But some say that, from time to time, the boy blinks. Just once. Quickly. As if he woke up for a second. As if he noticed, someone is still watching. Whether what's in that room is a child, a reflection, or a deception crafted by something greater, no one can say. But there is one thing everyone agrees on. There's a reason that warning hangs on the door. And we better take it seriously. Because if he wakes up, it might be too late to close the door again. Some things are hidden out of fear, others out of shame. But there are secrets so dangerous that the very act of remembering becomes a threat. That's why the room of forgetting exists. No one knows who first gave it that name. When it was cataloged, it was already there, locked, sealed, and without windows. A blank rectangle on the map of the underground prison. But inside, time does not pass. And those who enter never come out the same. The first sign that something was wrong came with a personnel count error. A guard entered this sector and, upon leaving, couldn't remember why he had gone in, or what he had seen. He only knew he had stood still for some time, staring at a wall. The records showed he had been inside for 11 minutes. But in his mind, it had been 5 seconds. Worse, he didn't recognize his own signature on the report. They installed cameras, microphones, motion sensors. Nothing worked properly. The footage froze. The audio vanished. And the lights inside the room never stayed on. The electrician in charge reported that the wires seemed to age too quickly, as if something inside was draining not just energy but the time from things, and from people. A Vatican researcher, the only one authorized to study the site, decided to enter accompanied by 2 assistants. They brought flashlights, analog watches, and a field journal. When they came out, none of the 3 remembered each other's names. One of them didn't even remember he spoke Italian. The researcher looked at her own journal, completely filled out in her handwriting, and asked, "Did I write this?" Since then, the room has been classified as a living anomaly. It emits no sound, has no smell, but it alters memories with a precision that even real trauma can't replicate. Some say it doesn't erase everything, only what it wants, that it chooses what should remain, and what should vanish, as if it had a will of its own. In an undocumented case, a priest is said to have entered the room to try and bless it. When he came out, he resigned, said he no longer remembered his calling. The next day, he was found wandering in a field outside the city. In his pockets, he carried only a coin and a piece of paper with one word written on it: empty. The cell was sealed with lead plates, and a Latin inscription was carved above the entrance: Memoria est porta demonium. Memory is the door of demons. No one confirms whether the phrase came from the church itself, or from someone who forgot the reason. And here's the most unsettling detail. Even without access to the room, some staff working in nearby corridors report lapses. They forget their way back, confuse colleagues' names. One nurse began calling her own son by the wrong name, the same name found in one of the old containment files from decades ago. The most feared theory is that the room holds nothing, that it is the secret, a kind of hidden mind, buried alive, feeding on memories to exist. And the closer someone gets, the less they remember who they were, as if the room doesn't want to be uncovered. It wants to be forgotten, and is willing to erase anyone who tries otherwise. If for some reason you feel like you've heard this story before, maybe it's just coincidence. Or maybe, just maybe, you've already passed through that door, and what you lost inside is still trying to come back. Most cells in this prison are meant to keep something locked inside. But this one seems to be alive. The guards call it the cell that breathes, because every time someone walks by, the air changes. It pulses, as if the walls contract slightly, inhaling and exhaling with the rhythm of a being that has never been seen. And the scariest part, This cell is empty. Officially, there is nothing inside. It all began when one of the surveillance cameras caught a strange movement. The bars of cell 313 vibrated on their own, as if touched by something invisible. The motion sensors didn't trigger. No alarm went off. But the footage is there, the cell moves. And it wasn't the first time. Internal records list at least 19 similar incidents in recent years. During one inspection, 2 staff members entered the cell together. One held a flashlight, the other took notes. Both walked out in silence. In their reports, they wrote different things. One said the cell was empty, as always. The other said he saw a figure standing in the corner, with skin stretched too tightly and its head tilted to the side. The problem? They were in the same place, at the same time. Since then, no one has entered again. The cell was sealed from the inside and is now observed only through cameras. But the phenomenon got worse. Sometimes, the cell's temperature changes on its own. The floor becomes damp. The metal bars show marks that weren't there before, as if something with claws had scratched the steel overnight. Then came the sound. A maintenance technician swore he heard heavy breathing while working on the external panel. He thought a colleague was playing a prank, but when he reviewed the footage, no one else was in the corridor. He requested a transfer the same day. The cell has no history of containing any object or entity. It's as if it was built by mistake, but no one dares dismantle it. A priest suggested performing an exorcism in the area. It was approved, but in the middle of the prayer, he fainted. He said that while reciting the verses, he felt something inside the cell repeating every word in a low voice, as if it were answering. Some report that the cell whispers, that sometimes you can hear short phrases spoken in a weak and trembling voice. Things like "find me" or "it's dark here." But the microphones never capture anything. Only those who hear it know they heard it, and that's enough to get them immediately removed from the area. The most recent account came from a rookie patrolling the corridor. He said he saw the cell move for a second. It didn't open. It didn't shake. It just breathed, as if it were preparing, as if it knew its time was coming. And when asked how he knew that's what it was doing, he answered, "She told me." Cell 313 is still there, closed, untouched, but alive. And some say it doesn't hold a presence. It is the presence, an entity built from space, time, and silence, a flaw in the foundation of the world. And all it wants is someone who truly listens. Now you know, not everything locked beneath the Vatican is silence and penance. Some cells don't contain monsters. They are the monsters. Presences that can't be erased, only isolated. Entities that weren't defeated, just forcibly forgotten. And perhaps this prison doesn't exist to protect humanity, but to buy time. So if one day you feel something watching you where no one should be, or wake up with the sense that you've forgotten something far too important, stop. Breathe. And remember, some doors were locked for a reason. And there are things that, once seen, never stop looking back. This story is just one piece, and one day, you might see the whole puzzle. If this made you think, subscribe, like the video. It helps the channel grow. Don't forget to share it, because more voices mean more discoveries.